We are here today with Rich Levante of Benson Hill, and kind of routine for a lot of companies is updates to the website, but still great to see those changes. And I know at Benson Hill, you guys are very excited for the updates that you've made to your website. So, Rich, thanks so much for taking the time to visit with us today. What kind of spurred this decision to update the website? And before we look at anything, what are some of the things that you guys have made changes to?
Well, Riley, thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this. Updating our website is really just another facet of really changing kind of how we tell our story. I've been with Benson Hill about 5 years. I came in right before we did our Series D raise, then went public, then went out and bought a lot of processing assets and other things, made a lot of acquisitions. And during that time, our story got incredibly complex. And complexity, it's always really hard to bring simplicity out of complexity. And we were in the seed business, we were in the processing business, we were in the ingredients business, we were in a lot of different businesses. We had a lot of different stakeholders. We were telling a lot of different stories, and it was really hard to bring all of that together. And one thing through this transformation we've gone through over, say, the last 15 months is our business model has gotten a lot simpler. And it's been a lot easier for us to kind of put our hands and our arms around kind of how we tell our story. So the beautiful thing about our CEO, Deanie, one of my favorite things about her is she's a marketer. She was a CMO at Kraft. I mean, she is a marketer. And her and I are in lockstep about the fact that you've got to understand your brand and you've got to understand your brand story. And everyone in your organization has to be able to talk about that brand story. So the very first thing we did was we went back to the beginning and really figured out who Benson Hill was, who we started out being, what our original missions were, kind of where we landed with our transformation, what we were going to do, what our positioning was going to be in the market. And we actually rewrote our entire brand story. We didn't make new things up. We went back to the origins of the story, which you'll see today. And we really encapsulated all that into what we call a brand placemat. And every single person in this organization has this. I've got a copy here, and it's literally a placemat. It's laminated. You can have lunch on it. If you spill some spaghetti on it, you can clean it off. But everyone in our organization knows who we are. They know our positioning. They know our brand promise. They know our core values. They know our boilerplate. They know our story. And that was the very first thing we had to do. And then from that facet, getting the brand right and the story right, you start to think about where you show up in platforms. And your kind of biggest owned platform is your website. And as we'll talk about today, that was the kind of the next part of that process, was really getting the website to a place where we knew the story internally. Now, how do we tell that story externally? So that's where we landed with that.
And then one more thing before we get into the actual tour itself, having that website to make sure not only is it available for farmers to look at the information, but for really anyone to click on that and see that. I've already taken a look at the website so far today, and just making sure, I think, the navigability of the website as well. Mm-hmm. So you can have all the information you want, but also that it's easy to find within that structure there.
It's a great point. And it's, so we're also very blessed. We have our own internal creative team, something I've believed in for years, having worked in the agency space for a lot of years and run an agency and ran external and internal creative teams. We have this small but mighty team internally, and we handle all of our creative, all of our visual design, and all of our development internally. So we were able to sit in rooms as a small team and really talk about the things that you just mentioned. Because look, at the end of the day, we have a lot of different stakeholders, but if a farmer's in their cab and they have a question and they pull their phone out, because about 65% of the people that hit our website, definitely from the farmer community, are on a mobile phone, and they want to know the question. They want to know a phone number to call, or they have a question about a variety, or they want to see if there's a program in their area. That needs to come up very quickly on their phone. It needs to be very, very simple for them to decipher what it is, and they need to be able to action on that very quickly. So the point you just made about navigability and the simplicity in design was something that we strove for. We have a saying here: let's not be clever just to be clever. Right? It's very easy and creative to be clever and have a lot of different things running in the background, a lot of different animations and things. But we find that the load times are slow, especially in rural communities. That just wasn't acceptable. So we try to keep things as simple as possible, but also aesthetically pleasing, if you will.
All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and start taking a look at that website. Rich, We're on the main page right now. If you could just tell us a little bit about what we're looking at.
Well, the first thing about this website is that's a seismic shift from our previous website is this is very, very commercial forward, right? So as you land on the page, you know, kind of the hero image is something, you know, we are a soy innovation company, right? We are focused on soy. Well, it's very clear here looking at this beautiful, beautiful rows of soy that this is the main business that we support. And a little bit about kind of who we are and just telling people immediately we're a seed innovation company, right? That unlocks nature's genetic diversity. It's always been kind of a promise of ours, but it's about meeting the demand for feed, food, and fuel. These are the three end markets that we serve that our genetics, our varieties through those programs serve. And we want to be very, very clear about what it is we do. But the cool thing about this that we wanted to do from being commercial forward is making sure that our farmers had immediate action and could immediately find different parts of the site that might be applicable to them. So as you scroll kind of down here a little bit, our varieties, these are all of the varieties that we have for sale that farmers can buy direct from us. Our programs, you know, our new business model really shifts from us contracting grain and then taking that grain through processing and selling that as ingredients. Right now, what, you know, our business model is very much set in people put programs together. Farmers sign up for those programs, they buy our seed, and they deliver to those programs, right? So it's very, very central to kind of how things are done across a number of different other companies. But we wanted to make sure that farmers had access to the varieties, programs, and the third part of this is something that we believe in wholeheartedly, and we want to make sure is more visible. Is many CROs are testing our varieties, and I'll go through this page in a minute. And farmers really want to see that third-party validation of the varieties that we're selling to see how they test in their area. And these are academic organizations, et cetera, which we'll kind of show on the map here in a minute. But this homepage is really needed to be simple. Who we are, what we do, the end markets we serve, and how can you immediately find out more about purchasing products from us. So that's where that resides. And then at the bottom is just kind of your footer. But as I mentioned before, there's a couple ways to connect with us, right? There's a main line, and we have what we call a farmer hotline. So we wanted to make sure people had immediate action because look, farmers, I love farmers because they want to talk on the phone. They want to call someone, and I love that because I'm the same way. They want to call someone, and we have a great group here that answers the phone and is very customer centric and customer forward. And we want to make sure that those numbers are actionable from the homepage. So we wanted to dive into the crop accelerator. And I'd invite folks to come in here. We've got some beautiful video content, especially on Crop OS, which is our crop, we kind of call it our crop operating system, which is really the engine, if you will, for us to do all of our predictive breeding and insights, and all the work we do from genomic sequencing all the way to the field testing all comes back to Crop OS to make our predictions stronger. But we created a piece of content in here for actually an investor day in 2023 that is the best version that we've ever been able to create to tell the story of this, opaque kind of cloud-based data system and actually humanize it so people can really understand the power of artificial intelligence and machine learning when used to predict outcomes, especially things around kind of innovation in food and feed and fuel. And then we also have a similar video about our crop accelerator, which is this incredible facility that's allowing us to get a little over 4 seasons a year, if you will, crop seasons a year out of a building right down the street from our headquarters, which is just incredible that we have the ability to rapidly prototype there. And that information is there for you as well. So let me jump into things that would be more applicable, I think, to once you start to understand the story. How do I integrate with Benson Hill? How do I purchase from Benson Hill? So let's talk about that for a minute. Are you seeing this page here, the varieties page?
Yep.
Great. Okay, perfect. So this is where we get into what we kind of talk about. These are like our product platforms, if you will. And our product platforms stem from our ultra high protein product platform, which is really the foundational platform, really what came out of the Schillinger Genetics acquisition with eMERGE, which was all around ultra high protein. And then from there, a lot of innovations that have been made to a very exciting line that we use for the feed space around ultra high protein, low oligosaccharide varieties. Then we get into specialty what we kind of call COVAL, which is the low oligosaccharides, high oleic, low linolytic oils, and then the whole, the high oleic, low linolytic. And what we have coming up later in the decade, which is ultra high oil, which is purpose built for the biofuel space. The really interesting thing about how we wanted to lay this out and make it actionable for someone immediately is, you kind of click into some of these varieties and you're landing on what a farmer would call, or a salesperson would call, a tech sheet, which is all the technical, the different pieces that are germane to the variety. And you can quickly download those data sheets. You can have those available to you to print. If a salesperson's out on a call, they'll have those available to print as well. So we have those available for everyone. We've got 29 varieties on the site at this point right now. And we're on our way to, by next year, we'll have about 35 varieties available, commercially available, which is very exciting considering we were at about 23 last year. And, we've got so many different products coming out that meet a lot of the different market needs. And actually by next year, we'll be able to, our varieties will have application almost to about 70% of the entire soybean acres. Our varieties will work within, which is pretty incredible to have that kind of diversity. So outside of the varieties page, let's talk a little bit about partner programs. So this is a pretty new place. We're updating this daily. We are creating new programs with partners. Right now we have 3 programs that we're offering that are being offered to farmers that our genetics work with. And 2 of them are with White River Nutrition, one in Seymour, Indiana, one in Creston, Iowa. And White River is the company that actually came in and purchased our processing assets. So we've got a really close partnership with them. We're very much integrated into those businesses from that standpoint. And the cool thing here is you can kind of see with Seymour, there's 6 different varieties that work within that program. These are kind of preferred varieties for this non-GMO program. And then also for Creston, you've got about 10 varieties that work. So this is a new for us. We're kind of seed direct now. So a farmer would sign up for a program. They would buy our seed directly from us, and they would then deliver back to that program with these details. And each of these programs, you can kind of download a program sheet to get more specific information. You can click back through the varieties. So it's kind of all here, plays really nicely on mobile technology as well. And it gives a farmer very, very quick action. So if they're interested in learning more about Benson Hill, they can dive into that, but they can also immediately look at varieties, immediately look at programs.
So thank you, Rich, for that look at the website. I learned a lot of great information today. For those of our producers, again, if they want to check out the website for themselves, find more of that information, what's the website address and how can they do that?
Yeah, so very simple, bensonhill.com. We used to have 2 to 3 different sites. We had different sites for seeds, different sites for farmer programs. We had a corporate site. Everything now is centered at bensonhill.com. It's the one-stop shop to learn more about the company, learn more about how to engage, how to buy direct, how to look at our varieties, programs, understand all of our third-party testing. It's all there in one type place. And we're really excited about it. It encapsulates our story and kind of who we are as a company.
All right, Rich, thanks again for the information today. It was great chatting with you, and have a great rest of your day.
Appreciate it, Riley. Take care, man. See ya.